of names: diabetes, hypertension, CVD, cancers, etc., autoimmune diseases. But ultimately, the underlying causes or the root causes of all these chronic diseases, one is inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is known risk factor for chronic diseases. Then oxidative stress or free radical damage, which induces damage to our proteins, our DNA, and cell membranes. Dysbiosis, which means an altered microbiome in the gut, a gut which is defective because the good gut bacteria are not thriving and the bad gut bacteria is thriving, leading to a dysregulated immune function because 70% of our immune system is in the gut. Decreased supply of nutrients and increased inflammation. So dysbiosis leads to inflammation, inflammation can lead to dysbiosis. These mechanisms are all related to each other. And lipotoxicity, accumulation of lipids in non-adipose tissues. When the adipose tissues are not able to take in any more fats, then the non-adipose tissues starts getting accumulated with fats, including our liver, heart, pancreas, and even the muscle cells. So then what happens when we eat a plant-based diet? How do we take care of these underlying mechanisms through a plant-based diet, which works on all chronic diseases? First of all, the plant-based diet is alkaline in nature, and our body heals in an alkaline environment. They are anti-inflammatory in nature, and inflammation has a huge role to play in chronic diseases. They are also low in fats. While animal foods are higher in saturated fats, normally plant foods are low in fats with a few exceptions, and those are like coconut or if you take a high intake of nuts and seeds. So those we have to take in moderation. Plants are also full of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. They're rich in fiber, and they all have the necessary macronutrients, carbs, proteins, fats. So we won't be deficient in anything if we are on a plant-based diet. And they also provide prebiotics for the gut to form probiotics and postbiotics. Postbiotics means short-chain fatty acids, which are produced by the good bacteria in our gut, and they actually help to bring down inflammation. They improve insulin sensitivity in the body. They decrease obesity, so they have a lot of role to play. But what happens when we take a lot of animal foods? Animal foods are acid-laden in nature. So they don't allow the body to heal so well. They're inflammatory. They're full of saturated fats. They lack fiber. They have endotoxins. And today's animal produce has a lot of antibiotics, hormones, and they are genetically modified, making them very harmful for our health. So here are some plant-based diet and treatment on cholesterol, triglycerides, obesity, and this is the only diet which has been proven to reverse cardiovascular disease. And the doctor behind that is Dr. Nornish, who has done lots of studies on the reversal of chronic fiber in them. Reversal is often achieved, or remission is often achieved, and even in cancer, plant-based diet can alter genetic expression. So we now know, like I mentioned, DNA is not destiny, it's epigenetics, which means our environment, our nutrition has an impact on whether we are going to have cancer or not, or are they going to inject genetic mutations in our body or not. Now I want to share a few testimonials. The fourth way that I explored this disease. I saw when I gave my patients a plant-strong diet. This is one of the case studies. A doctor who came to me post-COVID with hypertension, hypothyroidism, and diabetes. His HbA1c was 11.3, blood sugar and was quite high, 320. He was started on metformin, lediptin, and glimepiride by his doctor, but we also started him on a plant-based diet. And just as short as 1 week, we could stop his glimepiride. 2 weeks later, the lediptin stopped. After 2 months of a plant-based diet and 45 minutes of walking they did regularly, his HbA1c came down to 7.2 from 11.3, and he was on metformin just 500 milligrams once a day. His HbA1c further came down to 6.1, and not only that, his BP, he had been hypertensive for 10 years, his BP became normal. We could stop all his BP medicines, and even his hypothyroidism improved, and L-toxin dose was halved. He lost a lot of weight too. Here are a few testimonials of patients with diabetes and hypertension. HbA1c came from 9 to 7.8. BP came down to 125/75, and we could halve the medicines of BP. Another patient where we could stop the BP medicines and diabetes medicines were halved as we changed the diet. Even an autoimmune disease, lupus, Sjogren's syndrome, high cholesterol, hypothyroidism, there's a patient TSH improved from 5.3 to 2.3. Usually I do a 3-month follow-up with the patients. The programs run for 3 months. The RO from 2++ came to 1+. Cholesterol decreased without any medication, no statins were given. And he complained of joint pains, dryness of eyes also became negligible. That is common in Sjogren's syndrome. Again, the case of avascular necrosis post-COVID with severe pain, high cholesterol, obesity. He had come with severe pain, he could not sleep at night, and with a change in diet, his pain significantly reduced, his cholesterol reduced. We could stop his BP medicines and he lost 11 kg in 1 month. And his doctor advised him to lose a lot of kg because he was going to undergo stem cell therapy for avascular necrosis, and the weight obviously was a problem on his joints. Again, a case of rheumatoid arthritis, another autoimmune disease. Joint pain was relieved after changing to a plant-based diet. At 19.7, when this patient came to us, he was advised to be on insulin, but he did not want to do so. So we started him on a plant-based diet, and his HbA1c improved to 6.9 and finally to 6. Glucose average came down to 126 from 375. Cholesterol came down from 202 to 160. Triglycerides decreased. LDL became normal. Alkaline phosphatase became normal. So these are the amazing power of just changing your diet, nutrition, and lifestyle. Even in case of a chronic kidney disease, the GFR improved from 44 to 56, and this person was diabetic. We could actually stop his diabetes medicines, and when a person can go into remission from disease, from diabetes, his kidney function will obviously improve. But there are certain concerns about plant-based diet, and many people are very, very skeptical about it. They're worried about, will we get enough proteins from our diet? Will we get calcium from a plant-based diet? How about B12 and vitamin D? And these are concerns even which I had when I started. But really, where do these animals get their proteins from? These animals are, big, they're muscular, but they are only on plant foods, and they still get their proteins and calciums from plants. So plants have everything in them, the proteins and calcium in them that is required for our body. Let's talk a little bit more about dairy. I know this is something that quite a few people find difficult to give up, while some people don't like dairy. But is dairy really a good source of calcium for us, and is dairy really good for us? So let's explore this. It's been found that countries with the most consumption of dairy have the highest rates of osteoporosis. That's something surprising. Now, bioavailability, or the amount of calcium we absorb from many plant sources, is actually more than from dairy. We are worried the availability will not be so much, but it is there. So here I've compared a glass of milk where 30% of calcium is absorbed, and compared it to a glass of green smoothie which can be made with, I've chosen here a box choy which is available now in Delhi, and it's rich in calcium actually, and with some bananas you can make a delicious smoothie. So 160 milligram of calcium, out of which 50% is absorbed. So 80 milligram is absorbed, which is more than what you'll get from a glass of milk. Now, problems with dairy are this: dairy is there's a lot of saturated fats in dairy. It's full of hormones, including stress hormones, because of the way the dairy, the dairy production is done today. The calves are taken away from the mothers, so the mothers produce a lot of stress hormones, and that comes into the milk. One ICMR report showed that dairy has 570 times of pesticides over the normal limit. It also has insulin growth factor, which causes a lot of inflammation in the body, and it is also acid yielding. So it leaches the calcium out from the bones. If something is acid yielding in nature, it will leach out calcium from the bones. And cow's milk is really meant for calves. Are there any mammals on the planet which drink milk of another mammal? No. But we are only the ones to do it. And even small children, when they're first given a glass of cow's milk, many of them refuse to take it. They don't like the taste. And then the mothers run behind them with, Bonvitas and Complan, etc. to make them drink the milk, thinking that it is very healthy for them. But really, only infants need mother's milk. After that, we really do not need milk in our diet. So what are the sources of calcium and protein on a plant-based diet? If you have a diet which is rich in beans and legumes, leafy greens, nuts and seeds, whole grains including millets, fruits and vegetables, you will get everything that you need in your diet, including proteins and calcium. supplementation with B12, yes, B12 supplementation has become necessary today because not only people who are on a plant-based diet suffer from a deficiency, but even people who are non-veg. The reason being that there is too much hygiene being followed in the world, there is too much of sanitization, and B12 is made by a bacteria, and these bacteria cannot survive in that environment. Also, it is said that microwaves, mobile towers are affecting our B12 absorption. So B12 levels should be around 400 picogram per ml. And even vitamin D levels, people are getting deficient in vitamin D because we are not moving out of our AC environment or indoors. We are really not getting exposed to the sun on a regular basis, which is very important for us. But despite that, if the D level is low, we should certainly supplement because we see that a lot of diseases happen because of these two deficiencies. So I make it a point of depression, anxiety, of course, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, everything, cancer, etc. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. And over to the chairpersons for their special comments, please.
Thanks, Dr. Sanjita, for a very elaborate, crisp, and useful talk on this website. So, during the lecture, so many questions are coming to my mind, but one by one, you have cleared all these questions. So it's nice. Now I don't have any question for you.
Yeah, ma'am, exactly the same line. So I researched into all these areas before I started, working on this diet with my patients, and I saw wonderful results.
Dr. Sanchita, it was a truly informative and a rather eye-opener because most of us are vegetarians in one sense, but following a true vegan diet, just being on the plant-based food, that is something which needs to be learned, which needs to be inculcated. Rather, we have to get out of our mentality of just being vegetarian, and we have to learn that difference is being vegetarian and just switching on to the plant-based diet. That difference has been made very aptly clear by your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for a nice discussion. My view, I think this area is a grey area in medical science because vegan versus non-vegan. This is quite a difficult matter. In my view, most studies are required before we clearly establish vegan, non-vegan.
Yes, of course. And I also went through a lot of studies, and if you go to a website called nutritionfacts.org, the doctor there has mentioned a huge lot of studies. Actually, there have been thousands of studies on this, but it has not come out in the limelight because as doctors, we have not really focused on nutrition. But today, doctors are changing. So we have this Physicians Association for Nutrition who are advocating a plant-based diet with a lot of seminars that is showing a lot of research behind this. Also, the Indian Society of Lifestyle Medicine advocates a plant-based diet, and they are also doing a lot of webinars. So for more information, to be convinced, I would say, because my idea is really not to convince anybody, but to help you explore this topic more, because each of us has to make our own decision. And sometimes I do agree on an individual level, you might have to see exactly if adding yogurt, let's say, will benefit a patient or not. Though personally, I have not seen any extra benefit, but yes, I'm always open that yes, every individual is different, and we need to treat every individual according to their genetic makeup, to their environment, to their lifestyle.
Thanks, ma'am, for your comments.
Doctor Bhattacharya, one question. Not from my side, but it is a general one, that most of the time these chronic illness patients, they go to the doctor and he advised that go to the dietitian for this, but dietitian, they will tell how much this diet. It is very difficult to maintain that. Then how it is possible? In day-to-day life, it is very difficult.
Yeah, so I don't give a diet like a dietitian. My idea is to increase a lot of fibers into their diet, first of all, in the form of sometimes green smoothie if that is required, or salads, or even adding green leaves into their dals, etc. Because fiber itself cleanses the body a lot, and is very, rich in raw nutrients if you take it in the form of a salad or in the form of a smoothie. So I always see a patient's diet. What is the kind of diet he or she is following? And there I start making small changes which are easy to inculcate, instead of just giving them something very different, which they will not be able to do. And then that's why I buy step program for about 3 months, so that these lifestyle becomes sustainable and doable for them, because at one go it won't be. It takes a little time for many people. Some people are very open, they want to, do it all headlong. But some people do take time, and so we have to handhold them a little bit. But most of them are able to make it sustainable. And like I said, once the inflammation has come down and they have remission from the disease, then if you take 5 to 10%, because none of us are perfect, so if you take 5 to 10% animal products off and on, but not on a regular basis, it's not really going to harm you, because that extra plant that you are taking now, the extra fiber, the extra nutrient, is going to protect you. So only in autoimmune diseases we have to be more strict, but in other diseases we can be a little flexible, depends from patient to patient.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the house is open for questions.
Very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Sanjay, Professor and Head Physiology from Sekki Manipal Institute of Medical Science. First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, Sanchita ma'am, for a lovely presentation and very sound. We have learned a lot. As ma'am was talking about that, like every time we was having that the questions which we was giving answer to that. Still, there is a one question for me. A lot of literature even I have gone through. They say lot of that Indian cuisine, not only Indian cuisine in the world, lot of options are there. When we concentrate on India, like South Indian and North Indian food, like can you just focus on that? Can you just request you to just elaborate little more, focus on that? Which food you, according to your background, you prefer, that South Indian food or North Indian foods? Which one is good for the health?
Okay, so we also do a little, following their lifestyle or diet, what they're traditionally used to. For example, in South India, people will be having more of dosas, idlis, sambars. Now the dosa or the idli, what we tell them to do, instead of getting it done in refined rice, make it with brown rice and dal, or make it with brown rice. Idlis can be done with brown rice, or even millets. So nowadays, lots of options are there, and we are getting back that old, millets are a very, very big thing now because of the benefits, the health benefits. So if somebody is from South India and they are most happy to follow their way of diet, they cannot go on to a North Indian diet. So we just make sure, even being following a South Indian diet, we have made those changes of adding whole foods, which means brown rice or whole wheat or ragi, jawar, etc., or lots of fibers through salads, including leafy greens in their dals or sambar. So the changes are such that it is doable. Now in North India, people are into parathas, and they'll take ghee with paratha, they'll take achar and all. But paratha, we tell them, instead of using oil, what you can do is you can grind sesame seeds. Okay, now the sesame seed is a whole seed, so it will have fibers in it. You can mix it with the paratha, you don't need oil then, and you can make the paratha, but it will give you an oily feeling, right? And you can add a lot of vegetables into it to increase the fiber content. So we have to make little changes like this, which is doable, which is tasty, which is sustainable. Does that answer your question, or is there something else I need to tell you?
No, thank you so much. This is what just want to do, add up little more here. While going through the one article, what I have got, that South Indian food, which people, what a study has been published in good journal, that they shows that like South Indian food, those people who are consuming South Indian food, they have very less incidence of cancer, GI, compared to the North Indian. This was, but still, as Sarah has already told, that a lot of gaps are there, and we must have to come up with that lot of research to quote actually, and to say that, okay, this food is actually one of the factors.
Yeah, that is difficult, I understand, but there have been studies done on individual foods also, and that's why, I just don't look only at evidence-based nutrition. I'll also think about what nature has given us. How does nature, animals in the wild, they don't fall sick, they don't have diabetes, hypertension, etc. The reason is they're eating according to what nature has designed them for. So if we just keep it in mind, like having more of whole foods instead of refined foods, avoiding the processed and junk foods, limiting our animal food instead, because when we came onto this planet, we were first of all gatherers. Then we became hunters as tools became developed and all. So, but then hunting was not such an easy thing. People had to, go out for long hours and then find something, and that was shared by the whole family, which means they were taking very low amounts of animal foods. So that's why they're not having these kind of chronic diseases. Over the ages, things have changed because of culture, society, advertisement, etc. So if we keep in mind both nature science and evidence-based nutrition, I think we'll come to a conclusion by ourselves.
One more thing here, just nowadays packet foods are very much accepted in all the society, right? But I think, don't you think that like packet food, which is containing a lot of preservatives, even these preservatives is the main factor for these type of other food, other diseases?
Of course, they're one of the very important factors. Preservatives, additives, they are chemicals and they destroy our gut bacteria, they destroy our gut-brain axis also. So yes, chemicals are to be avoided. It causes a lot of hormonal issues. So we tell our patients not only to stop chemicals in their diet, but also in their personal care products, home care products, their toothbrush, toothpaste, etc. Everything we tell them to, change day by day so that chemicals are out as much as possible. Now the environment today also has a lot of pollution which we cannot avoid. But even if we make these small changes in our home, in our diet, in our personal care, home care products, we see an improvement. We see their hormonal issues go away. So even if we can manage to do 50 to 70% changes, we see the results are fantastic. And none of us are perfect. I know that neither me, I'm perfect, nor the patients that I tell them will not be 100% perfect. It's not humanly possible. But even if they follow 80 to 90% or 70 to 90%, they are doing very well.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I hope audience, mainly the young generation, they will have listened to your such a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Being a vegetarian and fitness lover, I'm really glad to hear your talk, ma'am. But I have a small question which I really wish to ask you. Nowadays, I really doubt each and every food we are having. So any aspect of not getting organic food nowadays, can you just highlight that point, how we can cover that?
Okay, so organic foods are always the best, but even when we buy something organic, yes, we are not 100% sure that it is 100% organic, but at least hopefully it will be 80% organic, which is better than the one that is filled with pesticides and insecticides. But another thing I've noticed in my patients, despite having insecticides, pesticides in plant foods, they still have the capacity to protect us. And all our patients cannot convert to organic foods, but they still benefit their disease, they go into disease remission. So plants have certain factors in them actually, even like phytonutrients or antioxidants, which despite those insecticide, pesticides are protecting us from diseases. And in fact, there was one study which showed that 3 apples a day gets rid of all the dioxins, which means those pollutants from the environment, etc., from our body on a daily basis. So 3 apples a day could do the work. But yes, organic is the best. It's better to, see the reviews of organic companies or talk to their people exactly how much organic they are and get organic food. But even if you can't do it, do whatever you can. But by itself, a plant-based, whole foods plant-based diet will help you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I hope now everyone will agree that food is not just a fuel or a source of energy, rather it's a medicine. And take home is, let food be thy medicine and not medicine be thy food. With that, I would like to request our chairpersons to present a memento to Dr. Sanchita Bhattacharya, and thank you all for the lovely discussion.
Thank you so much, everybody.
I would like to add on that ma'am has reminded us of our nanis and dadis nuska at this point of time. They used to give us some kada for the cold and cough and so on. So thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to add that Dr. Sanchita Bhattacharya is my batchmate from college. So we belong to the same batch, so very dear to me. and that's why we have this continuous rapport. And she's running a very successful clinic in Delhi where people are getting rid of their diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, everything because of plant-based diet. So I'm so impressed with her. But only one point where I don't agree with her is dairy, which I'm very much fond of. Doodh dahi ke bina जीवन अच्छा नहीं लगता. So I can't follow everything what Sanchita says, but I really admire her ways of dealing with disease. Thank you so much, Sanchita, for coming all the way. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Anuradha here, for giving me this opportunity to speak to all of you and share this topic, which I'm very passionate about. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's really
Sanchita.
close
Thank
to
you so
everyone's
much.
heart, ma'am, I guess.
Yes. Also, one announcement: we are not having the panel discussion after the lunch because of time constraint. We'll move on to the next session, which will be on successful aging after the lunch break. Do we have? Yeah.
Just stay back for a minute, please. Now I request Dr. Anuradha, ma'am, organizing chairperson and professor and head physiology, SHKM GMC NU, to honor and thank our chairpersons. First of all, Dr. Indu Khurana, ma'am, and I would like to add on over here that I'm really proud to stand in front of my guru. She's my guru in my MBBS time. Thank you, ma'am. I hope you are not able to recall, but we recall you every time. Thank you so much. A big round of applause, please. Please vibrate the hall a bit. Next, I would call upon Dr. Jyoti Sethi, ma'am. Ma'am, please honor Dr. Jyoti Sethi, ma'am. Claps should not stop, please. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Anurag sir and request Anuradha ma'am to kindly thank him with a memento. Activated your hunger centers of your brain. So let me not come in between you and give us some lunch. So let's proceed for the lunch, but please be right back in time. Thank you so much. Thank you all the cheers. Thank you so much.